What's going on, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Showtime 804. Checking back in with y'all after, a tough loss that we had to endure yesterday. Before I get started into this video, remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so we can jump on this train and we're going to keep this thing moving. So, yesterday we had a tough one against the in-state rivals, Pittsburgh Steelers. You saw some good, but the good was overshadowed by the bad. And it's just like a recurrent thing with this team. These shortcomings, like you found a bright spot somewhere to hang your hat on, and then one phase of the game costs you. We just been seeing a lackluster performance from a watered down roster. We're trying to squeeze blood from a turnip, and we're trying to win off of success from undrafted free agents, waiver wire players, letdowns and castaways from other teams, and we're just trying to piece this team together and to try to build off of some success. Now, it looks like some of the organization, they are, satisfied with that one Super Bowl because, year in and year out, we're seeing higher expectations with lower results. Now, we have a $100 million quarterback, and he's put the weight of the franchise on his shoulders, and he's faltering because he doesn't have the pieces around him. Injuries have crippled this team time and time again. We've changed medical staffs, but yet we're seeing the same things happening. You look at any of your other $100 million quarterbacks, they always have, all of them have a common thing where they have a go-to wide receiver. Now, we can all speculate, Zach Ertz is his go-to, but that's a tight end, and he doesn't bring the same, effect on the field that some of your other quarterbacks have, and some of the other receivers are going to bring to you. And Zach Ertz is a whole different topic. We're going to get onto that later. But the one bright spot that we do have is another waiver wire player, Travis Fulgham. 10 catches, 152 yards, and a touchdown. The effort that he put on the field yesterday was, something that we haven't seen in a long, long time. We saw him, high pointing the ball, making a juggling catch where he kept focused, the ball didn't hit the ground, and he just battled. And this wasn't a lesser opponent on defense. This is a top 5 defense in the league going up against a perennial Pro Bowler in Joe Hayden. And to see Fulgham, have this type of success against this particular defense, it shows to what we have in the future. The running game, I was very, very disappointed. We had one play that, Miles Sanders got loose on a third down draw play, and he took it 74 yards. So that's one play for 74 yards, and he finished the game with 13 carries and 80 yards. We are trying to bang the round peg in the square hole when it comes to our running game. Miles Sanders, he is a good back. You have to get him in space. But one thing that I'm seeing that Doug is not taking advantage of is, trying to get him a lead blocker in some kind of way. If you go back to the game last year against Buffalo, he took off his longest run of the year on a play in which Jordan Howard served as a lead back. So we need to get creative on offense. Motion some tight ends in the backfield. Do something that gives him a head start, because although he is a shiftier back, he's not the most powerful back. So he's going to need, a little spring to get to that second and third level on defense. Pittsburgh has an aggressive front, and we didn't do anything to counteract that front, where we did no screen plays, no quick passes. Everything is long, developing down the field for us. And we don't take advantage of teams' aggressiveness like the way they do our defenses. When you look at our defense, Jim Schwartz with his front four, he likes those guys to be aggressive. He wants them to fly up the field and stopping the run on the way to the quarterback. Now, the way that you slow down an aggressive defense is quick passes, quick slants, screens. We did none of that on our defensive side yesterday. And yet, over and over and over again, that happened to us. They pretty much neutralized our pass rush. Everything was quick slants, everything, and then we're playing 5 to 10 yards off of the ball. So Jim Schwartz is he's grown his time here in Philadelphia. We have to make some changes. I know they're not going to probably fire him during the middle of the year because you really don't have any kind of backup plan for that, because of course, you know, we're always reactive as opposed to being proactive with some of these situations that we see on the field. Nate Gary, I know I'm probably the chairman of the Get Nate Gary Off the Field foundation, but it's time. It's time to go. He can't be on this field. Now, we know he's bad, and yet the coaches still put him out there, and he doesn't do anything to warrant him by being on the field. I don't know what he's doing in practice or what some of the other guys are doing in practice to where they can't unseat him from that position. And it's another thing that happens with our defense, that we are hobbled with special teams guys at best on the defensive side of the ball, including all of our linebackers. At best, they are special teams contributors. Now, we even try to force Marcus Epps into a starting caliber role. That's not his game. He is a depth guy, and we're giving him valuable time and valuable plays on the field. Where you have Kayvon Wallace, a guy you drafted in the 4th round, who has a pedigree from going to a big school, so he's seen the big time moments, played in national championship games, so you know he should be right there being groomed to take that starting role. But yet we're just trying to force other guys in these positions that they're hindering us on defense. Jalen Mills, I don't know what's going on. He's another one. I think we should have just, you know, let him go about his business and instead of bringing him back. It's just the results just aren't working out on the field. We just, so many times that we just get hindered by things of our coaching staff outthinking themselves. And on special teams being one where we can't advance the ball on a punt return because Greg Ward, who is a key contributor to our wide receiver group, we can't have him to try to advance the ball on a punt return because, you know, special teams, he could risk himself for injury. So we can't advance the ball. So every time he catches a punt, it's almost a fair catch. Always. And he can't do anything to try to make anybody miss because he can't risk himself getting an injury. Now, if we talk about that 57-yard field goal, I don't know what Doug was thinking. We took that field goal attempt with about 5 minutes left in the game. So if it was a 57-yarder with, you know, time expiring or, you know, seconds, even a minute left on the clock, I get it. But at that point in the game, you better serve at either going for it. It's 4th and 5 because if you miss the kick, that's where they get the ball at. If you turn it over on downs, that's where they get the ball at. I would have even thought about punting because there was nothing saying that you were going to hold on to that position. Even if you make that kick, your defense hasn't been playing well in order for them to say that they're going to get a 3-and-out or some way to get the ball back for you. It just wasn't there. So that's one of those things where, you know, Doug started to play the aggressive nature because he was second-guessed about the decision not to kick the ball in the Cincinnati game. Now, it's not going to get better for us. We've got Baltimore coming in next week. And the way our linebackers play, Lamar Jackson, I think he may have 200 yards on the ground. Now, I'm never going to bet against the Eagles, but it's not looking good the way we're seeing now. And I figured what would happen with the way we played on defense this week, because Jim Schwartz does get a tendency to look at his own press clippings. So the talk of the league had been, you know, how much pressure and how much quarterback pressure and sacks we've been getting over the last couple of weeks. So Jim Schwartz reads those clippings, and you know he was aggressive against younger quarterbacks and inexperienced quarterbacks, but then you just sat back and let Ben Roethlisberger look like Joe Montana and Peyton Manning. Like, I'm not saying that Ben Roethlisberger isn't a good quarterback. Like, he most certainly is. He's Hall of Fame worthy. You could say that. 2 Super Bowl wins, but just to sit back and not make any changes on defense. For Chase Claypool to have the game of his life against us, you know, we always see this where some wide receiver comes out of nowhere and has a Hall of Fame game against us. We just went through that with the Cincinnati game. T. Higgins, he had no production all season, but you know, you play the Eagles, we always jump starting somebody else's career. It's time to make some changes. There have to be some changes, because these guys just don't have any accountability, and it's like the team is just so soft. You know, when you start playing football, even in Pop Warner, they tell you to play to the whistle. You don't play until that whistle is blown. And on that first interception Carson Wentz threw, that's solely on Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz stopped his route to turn around and look for a flag. And you left your quarterback out to dry, because now all of the Wentz haters are coming for his head, but like, oh, he shouldn't have threw that pass. You know, he threw another interception. When that interception isn't on him. There's context and all of that. And another play, Nate Gary, again, another recurring theme. On Pittsburgh, they had like a stack play. So they had 4 wide receivers stacked up on the outside. Now, Nate Gary, instead of him playing defense, he's signaling to the referee to throw a flag. And he's just not focused on that route or the play at all. He's more worried about the referee throwing a flag. And that's what I'm saying. These guys they're just too soft. There's no accountability. They know they're not going to get benched. For as bad as they play, we see this as fans, that their play on the field is horrible. It's horrendous to even sit back and watch. But they know that they can go ahead and do things because they're not going to receive any kind of punishment on it. If you look at that end-around play, a lot of times we're undisciplined. Malik Jackson, I like what Malik Jackson does as an inside defensive tackle, but I don't like him lining up wide, because that end-around play to Chase Claypool, he's out of position. He doesn't set the edge. He's too busy flying upfield that he's missing gap responsibilities. And something has to change. And it's not going to change this year, because that wide 9-4-3 philosophy is entrenched to those guys. And it's just, next season we definitely need to look into some things like that. And it gets more disheartening, because you look around at some of our castaways. Sidney Jones had a great game. Rasul Douglas looks like a all-pro corner because they are away from this Jim Schwartz scheme. This scheme is bad news. There's a reason why no one else in the league runs that. And this is a copycatted league. So if something that you see successful in one team, other teams are going to try and use this. But no one uses this wide 9 technique. It's outdated, and it is very, very easy to game plan against. And the way that this league is, you have to have some type of enforcers on defense. We have a lot of nice guys, like our linebackers. Again, I'm harping on them again because they're just so soft. They don't play with any type of aggression. We need the days back when we had the Jeremiah Trotters, and we're never gonna have another Brian Dawkins, but we need some nasty guys like that, the Seth Joyners of the world. Just somebody who can hit someone, light a fire under this defense. We don't have that. I want a guy on the defense who's gonna get that 15-yard penalty, strap up for the next play, and then go do it again. But you know, that's enough for this week. For today, actually. So I'm gonna try to bang out another video for you within a couple of days, because as you know, we also lost Lane Johnson again. And tomorrow we should definitely see Cordy Glenn on his way to Philly signing the contract, because we got to do something. These injuries aren't going to go away. They have to be reactive. They have to be proactive instead of reactive. We can't do this next man up, because I don't think we have any more tackles left on the practice squad. So I'm going to sign off here today. I'm going to try to get back with you later on in the week. And again, Bird Gang Mafia, fly Eagles fly.